Hey, this is Nathan Sharp of NateWantsToBattle, and this is Antihero Online.
All right, so let's dive right into it. First off, what kind of got you started on doing, cover videos on YouTube?
I spent a lot of time, even before YouTube, in the music scene and having my garage bands, having my independent projects. And, I came from the MySpace era of music, so putting music online, wasn't really a strange concept to me. And then when I started uploading YouTube was just kind of the best medium at the time to do it, and it just kind of stuck. It seemed like the most plausible place to put all of my ideas, my creative outlets and stuff like that, and it just kind of stayed with me.
Your subscriber list is over 1 million people that have subscribed to your videos, and your videos get well over 200,000 views every time. What can you kind of attribute that to?
A really, really awesome and dedicated following. It took years to outreach to everyone I did, and a lot of it was just trying to find a middle ground of projects I knew would do well, but also ones that I think I could make the best out of, things that I would enjoy, things I'm actually passionate about making as far as the type of music. So there were a lot of songs where it's just hey, people are really digging this song and I really like it, and I think I could do something cool with it, to writing originals about topics that people are really feeling, whether it's a lot of my stuff is video game or fandom related, and a lot of people find that and they enjoy. It's kind of it's a different concept to them because it's original music, but it's still about this thing they have attachment to just even original music that's just dealing with hardships and trying to figure yourself out, and things people connect with. So it's all about that.
What influenced you to create your own original record at this point in your career with YouTube and the music scene?
Yeah, I kind of started off, like I said, with music that, even though the composition would be original, it still had to do with a different IP. And, just after a while, there were a lot of listeners who were enjoying the message out of the IP related stuff, because even though it was maybe influenced by a video game or something, I tried my best to find a meaning that the game was trying to convey and try and make something more based on that, to where people started telling me, and something I really appreciated, were just hey, I don't even play this game, or I don't watch this show, but the song you made of it still hit a note with me, and that really helped me connect, even though I don't have attachment to the IP. And that kind of got me thinking okay, well, there's enough people listening, and they're very sweet, they're, like I said, they're very dedicated, and I felt like it was a good time to branch out into just 100% original and write music that means a lot to me, and is about things that I'm just personally gone through, stuff I know other people deal with, and things like that, and just have it be about in itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And you took a really big risk by doing that, going from doing cover songs and anime and manga related stuff to creating your own music. Did you really process the amount of risk that you were taking by doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. It was really scary to me, because up until that point I had a career that I wasn't sure how much it really was relying on that or not. It was kind of putting myself out there. It's okay, well, I've done this stuff that I can attribute to myself, but also somebody else's work technically. So this was literally just putting myself out there as an artist with nothing to tether on. It was literally just putting myself out there, all on the line, full, just completely honest and completely open. And yeah, that was really scary to me, because it was scary and it was risky, because it felt really exposed, and it was pretty. I was feeling pretty vulnerable when I first did it, but the weeks leading up to it, I was like freaking out every day. I'm like, oh, like, is this gonna is this gonna click with people? Is this gonna resonate? Is this gonna mean as much to other people as it does to me, or is this gonna is this gonna show? It's like, all right, well, I can't do things that are 100% original. Is that going to be the outcome? But the day it came out, I was very happy. It was very well received. Everybody had very nice things to say, and overall, I'd say it was a successful first original.
Success really did follow it. In 4 weeks, you got a little over 225,000 views on your video, and that's not including the iTunes and Spotify numbers. What type of reassurance did you feel once the response started coming in?
Once the response started coming in, that's when I kind of felt like, okay, this is a thing that I've been pursuing and I've wanted to set out to do since, like high school. Like, this is basically the I guess the dream job status. Because before, like, uploading to YouTube frequently, it's fun, and doing the covers and doing the game-related stuff, like, obviously, I still love it, and it is, the reason that I'm able to do what I do. But it's just one of those things where it doesn't truly feel like it's 100% yourself. And there was like a ceiling that I hit with creative fulfillment for that style of content. So once, things started rolling in with Sandcastle Kingdoms and, seeing an independent album chart and knowing that, it was me, it was my producer I worked with, Sean Christmas, who, just makes everything sound so incredible. It was an amazing feeling, and that was kind of the point where I really did feel like, okay, like, we're doing this for real now, and it's amazing.
Let's talk a little bit about the video for Heroes Never Die. That's the first single off of your record. What kind of inspired that? Did you have a lot of creative input when it came to the style of the video that you wanted to shoot for the song?
Oh, yeah, definitely. The director I work with for most of my videos, Mike Lowther, he's awesome to work with. Typically, I come to him with an idea, and then he, with his skill, with his, with what he does, he just makes it come to life. So, like, a thing that inspired us doing a music video in a laser tag arena is that my first job was actually working at a laser tag place as the what's the title? I guess ref or something like that. The person that explains how to do it. And then to be able to make a music video now where we're pulling out all the stops and, we're going full production and we're doing everything as big as we can, to attribute it literally to my first job where I first started, it felt like it was kind of coming full circle. So that's kind of a big thing with it. Plus, it was a song just about, it was slightly inspired by a game called Overwatch, which is kind of a shoot 'em up game, and it's a lot of fun. So we felt like it all came together. It really fit the vibe. So that meant a lot to me to be able to do that.
I mean, it brought the elements too that kind of got you famous at the same point.
Right.
With the video games and the way that the video is shot, it's really video gamey.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, like you said, it kind of has a little bit of like everything that brought me to where I am today mixed into one, which was really cool to do.
And the original album is entitled Sandcastle Kingdoms. What kind of led you to picking that title for the album?
It's based on the title track of the album, and it's kind of about it was kind of about the anxiety I had toward basically the album itself, and kind of how this whole thing works, because it's one of those things where it feels like people have told me a good amount after they like meet like my fans and seeing how sweet they are and how dedicated they are. People will be like, oh man, you you kind of like built a little empire here or something like that. And as cool as that is, it always felt like it was kind of on a very like slippery and shaky foundation. So basically, like a little empire or a city that, you know, as great as it is, it's very uncertain, and it feels like something that could, you know, easily be washed away really, really quickly with how like the internet works and how fast like trends go and how things are in and out after like a couple days, a couple weeks. So it's one of those things where it's great, and at the same time it feels very uncertain. So that's kind of what triggered that.
What kind of inspired the album art? Because from just looking at the album cover, it's kind of got like an Uncharted, Assassin's Creed type feel to it as well. Was that one of the underlying things that you kind of wanted to include in there as well?
Yeah, it was my artist that worked on it, Dina. I came to her with the idea of having an album cover that's kind of inspired by the art style of like Journey, but it's basically like, you know, it's kind of the story of the traveler that's on the album cover, and, you know, coming upon this kingdom made of sand, and how like it is very, like you said, it's uncharted and it's like unsure, and it's this new destination where you're not sure if like this really is where to go. But, you know, it's the traveler like trying it out and seeing if this is like where a future can be held.
And what can people kind of expect from the album as a whole?
As a whole, it really talks about like issues that I know that I've dealt with, and other people like probably tackle. But there's things about like self-doubt and you know, stress, anxiety, all that, and just like how to like kind of deal with it. And basically, like, yeah, things get hard, things get rough, and all you can really do is like be as strong as you possibly can. And you know, hopefully like people can take away, you know, a message from the album of, you know, you can find strength, and like it's a cliche, but like it does get better, and it's about writing it out and doing your best to keep your head up.
This is kind of going back a little bit. You said you started off in the MySpace era with the MySpace music and all of that, and things like technology, internet access, a lot of things have changed since then. How have you seen like a change in the growth of your exposure from the time of MySpace to the time of now of iTunes and Spotify and Google Play and YouTube and Facebook and, you know, everything that's out there now?
It's night and day, honestly, because I remember like during the MySpace days, with especially being an artist, being a creative with music, there wasn't really much of a search engine or anything like that. Or no, there's a search engine, but there wasn't any kind of like related content. So people would seek out what they already knew and what they already wanted, and the only real way was, you know, the old school way of like, hey, you know, add a bunch of people who, based on their profile, would be interested in your type of music and see if they bite. Versus with like Spotify and YouTube, like everything runs on discovery and, you know, related search, and like these sites are constantly like doing what they can to feed you new content based on what you like, that you probably haven't seen before. And it's such a good thing, because it gets people out of their hole of like, I'm going to listen to the same thing and nothing else because this is what I know. And that mindset is just like, oh, you're missing out on something that you could also like that's really close to that. So it's really great how much they push discovery.
What advice would you give for somebody that's trying to get exposure for their music through YouTube, and they're just like, you know, they keep producing content, but they're not really getting the amount of exposure that they either A, deserve, or B, that the amount of exposure that they have earned?
I'd say be driven by the passion of doing it, and try not to focus too much on like the exposure and not like don't look too much at numbers, because I know a lot of people who, whether they're doing music online or they're doing like any kind of content, basically anything where numbers are involved, I see a lot of people who look too hard at that and not at the actual, like, the drive and the passion and love for it, because it's one of those things where not only is it going to stress you out if you're trying too hard to focus on like things going huge, that can affect what you're making as well. Like, the biggest thing is, don't worry about like trying to like, oh, I want to make a career out of this, like off the bat. You know, you gotta love what you do first for that to even remotely be a possibility. And just keep at it and keep doing it because you love it. And you can't guarantee something's gonna happen, because like in all actuality, there's tons and tons of people like, you know, trying to chase their dream and do it. But, you know, if you enjoy it, that should be more than enough reason to like keep at it.
The album's out. Is there any plans on possibly going back to the studio and working on more original content? Are you gonna still kind of release some of the cover songs as well? Like, where does your career kind of go from here?
Oh yeah, with the covers and like with posting to YouTube frequently, like that's still gonna happen. Like I still post a couple songs a month, whether it's like, oh, I like this song, so I want to cover it, or like, oh, I could write a song about like this game. Like there's a couple of those things still in the works, and those are always fun. But I'm currently in pre-production for my new original album, which should be out next year, if everything goes according to plan. But it's in the writing phase, but it's already being worked on, because I'm just constantly writing. Because songwriting is pretty much my favorite part about this whole thing. I love being able to create, and that's the biggest thing that gives me fulfillment. So there's always new music being worked on, for sure.
And is there a possibility of a tour coming up?
Yeah, myself and a couple other musician friends of mine, Andy Stein and Amelie, we're going to be going on a couple more legs of the Cool and Good tour, which is my headlining tour we've been doing this year. We've been doing a couple runs here and there spread throughout the year, rather than like in one giant, like huge chunk, because we have our own channels to worry about. We have other stuff going on, so we can't spend like months at a time out on the road. But yeah, tour dates are being booked. We're aiming for fall, winter of this year, but can't confirm the dates yet, but those will be out soon.
Can you reveal what region that your tour is going to be covering? Is it just going to be, you know, mainly based on the West Coast, California, maybe, you know, Arizona, Vegas?
We're shooting for an East Coast run and a West Coast run for two separate like legs of the tour. So, yeah.
How do you find the time to balance all of this stuff? Like you're producing covers, you're producing original content, you're producing videos, you're writing, and then at the end of the day, you still got to have somewhat of a social life at the same time.
Yeah, you know, a big part of that is, you know, I've kind of been able to turn my career just as a musician like into a pretty well-functioning business, to where I work with friends and I work with amazing people who are able to take a lot of the workload, not only take it off my hands, but do a better job at it than I can. Like, I first started working with my producer, Sean, early 2015, and since then he's mixed and mastered basically every song I've done, and he does a much better job than I do, and that also gives me time to where, rather than like, hey, instead of like, you know, taking an entire day to mix this, because someone else is mixing it, that opens up time to record something else. And same goes with like video production, you know, things along that line. So it's really about surrounding yourself with people, with the right people who can not only bring the music further, but can, you know, also like I said, do a better job, and also like just have a positive environment and just make it even more enjoyable. Because that's the biggest thing, is there's so much love for it, so it barely feels like work to me.
And the last thing that I want to ask you is, with the tour and the shows and all of that stuff, are you going to kind of like see this as an opportunity to do a little bit of vlogging to give your fans a behind the scenes look at, you know, your travel and the pre stuff that goes on before the show and the shows themselves?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. It's going to be a combination of possibly like behind the scenes, like little vlogs. I have a side channel to where I like to upload just like random things that happen. Like we were in a van and we made a couple like dumb fidget spinner videos because I don't know, the internet's weird. But yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that's going to be going on, especially when we're on the longer runs and we have more time to kill and like mess around and like upload it. So yeah, we're looking forward to that.
That's pretty much everything that I have for you. Is there anything that I didn't touch on that you'd like to add?
Thanks for listening, everyone. Keep a lookout for the Cool and Good tour. Tour dates will be announced soon. Keep up with that at NateWantsToBattle.com. And new album, Sandcastle Kingdoms, is on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, everything. And hope to see you guys at the show.